If I asked you what the greatest underrated movie was, what would you say? Not the biggest flop, but the most critically underrated movie ever. We're talking about a movie that's universally hated by fans and critics. A movie absolutely destroyed by a legendary critic.
I hated this movie. Hated this movie. Hated it. Hated every simpering, stupid, vacant, audience-insulting moment of it.
And was his worst movie of 2002. A movie that perhaps we didn't deserve at the time, but is finally getting the love that it deserves as a cult classic, and is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I mean,
I heard that the script was so funny that it brought tears to your eyes.
it did.
And of course, working with Danny DeVito.
We were both in Montreal making different heist movies.
That's right.
And we had a drink one night, and he said, I got this funny script. And he sent it to me to look at, he said, to look at Rainbow Randolph. He wanted me to look at the Robin Williams part. But I read it, and then we got together for a drink, and I said, I think Smoochy. And he went, no, no, yes.
I mean, I remember I was sitting with Danny, and I'd say, Danny, what's my character? And he said, I don't know, you're fucking playing it.
Folks, when a movie's about corruption in children's entertainment, it can flip from this
from me to you
to this in a heartbeat.
I'm Smoochy!
In today's world, it would be like if Sesame Street ran like this.
Well, what do you think this is, your show? Huh?
No, I didn't.
Elmo makes one phone call, you're through in this business.
Our Elmo in this picture is Rainbow Randolph, played by the late, great Robin Williams, a corrupt children's television star who takes bribes on the side from rich parents wanting their
little booger eater on my show.
Of course.
Yes, very much.
Then don't tell me how to run my fucking business.
If you haven't seen this movie, folks, you still have a Robin Williams gem you can watch for the very first time.
I envy you, taking these first steps into a new frontier.
His talents are on full display, singing, dancing, acting completely batshit crazy.
What about the rumors that you're mentally imbalanced?
Who the fuck said that? That's bullshit! I'm not mentally imbalanced!
He's almost like a live-action cartoon at times in this dark comedy, and it really balances the tone out for me.
Hey, there's vodka and potato chips back there if you're hungry.
After Randolph is caught taking a bribe, the network, KidNet, scrambles to replace him with someone who is
Squeaky fucking clean!
Squeaky clean, sir.
enter a super young Jon Stewart.
Tonight is the night we celebrate excellence in film with me, the fourth male lead from Death to Smoochy. Rent it.
And the always talented Catherine Keener, who are the producers in charge of finding a new children's television host. They find Sheldon Mopes, a.k.a. Smoochy the Rhino, played by Edward Norton, in his regular gig at the methadone clinic.
It's important to get started now, though. You know why? Cause the smack can lead to crack, oh yes it can. Carl, you know what I'm talking about, brother. Sing it with me now.
Edward Norton and Catherine Keener have great chemistry together. From fighting to flirting, they're a lot of fun. And as Robin Williams is crazy in a negative way, Edward Norton's Sheldon Mopes is crazy in a positive way?
Burke, I can't accept this.
No?
I've never owned a gun. I don't believe in them.
Really?
When we were kids and my brothers and I played cowboys and Indians, I was always the Chinese railroad worker.
These two are polar opposite characters, and they're amazing when they share the screen together, with Catherine Keener as sort of like the anchor holding them all together.
Oh, enlighten the lad, Nora. You were such a hot little brood mare. Does the bridle still fit?
Hey, watch your mouth,
What
mister.
experiments? I've had firmer handshakes, you drunk.
Please, it's small, but it's fierce.
Hold the phone here. What? Are you telling me this is true? You and him?
No, yeah.
How do you like that?
Oh, and if you didn't notice, DeVito also plays Mope's agent, Burke Bennett. He embezzles money from charity events. Oh, and he has a connection with Merv Green, who runs the Parade of Hope and is played by the voice himself, Harvey Fierstein. I guess that's the best I could do there. If you ever watch him during interviews on talk shows, he is absolutely hilarious.
You are a man who is full of great stories, and yet you just wrote your memoir. What was the delay, and what made you decide to do it?
Because I cleared my desk during COVID, and I did the laundry, and I had nothing to do. And my agent said, "Why don't you write a book?" And I said, "Okay."
Directed by Danny DeVito after the late Harold Ramis passed on it, it was filmed in January of 2001 in New York City and has some beautiful snowy city shots. I only really mention this now because back then I really didn't notice it. The snowy setting is never part of the plot, but it has better winter shots than some movies where the weather is a huge part of the plot. Either no breath or terrible CGI breath and fake snow, actors who look warm on a wintry set. But not here.
Trains come in all sizes, that's a fact, it's true. All the colors of rainbow from mauve to blue. Where can you go when skies turn gray, where the sun always shines and the animals play, where every day is a happy day? Well, Smoochy's here to show the way.
Stomps his feet, sends me to bed with zilch to eat. But my stepdad's not mean, he's just adjusting.
Music by David Newman, including original songs with lyrics by Adam Resnick, who also wrote the screenplay and also wrote for Late Night with David Letterman, where apparently this whole idea of a movie hatched from. Apparently Letterman and Resnick noticed that every kind of thing was being marketed and sold to children.
Mr. Mainway, this is simply a bag of jagged, dangerous glass bits.
Yeah, right. It's it's a glass. It's broken glass. It sells very well, as a matter of fact.
So with all these talented people working on this movie, surely this will be a massive success.
Get that cleared up before game time, Jim.
There's money on this shot, that's why.
Thanks, Jim.
When they get serious, they get serious. Jodie Foster returns to the screen for the first time in 3 years in Panic Room. David Sheehan has a review.
Well, Gene, I'll tell you, this is one of those, it may get you, it may not. I mean, it's creepy, it's crawly, it's crass, and it's crude, and a little too predictable, I'm afraid. But Panic Room is praiseworthy for a world-class portrayal of Courage Under Fire by Jodie Foster.
It was not. It lost $42 million, only making 8 of its $50 million budget back, losing out big to the Easter weekend hit Panic Room. It was a huge flop, but even worse, critics didn't like it. And according to DeVito, the studio buried it after they themselves didn't understand it.
The studio didn't get that to Smoochy. That they have done this in the past to lots of movies where they don't really promote them and put them out there.
A lot of people hated the tone and thought it was too dark. I couldn't disagree more. This is not a cookie-cutter film. It can be depressing and funny at the same time. Roger Ebert said that there was no one in the movie that you could relate to, and I was literally rooting for both Sheldon and Randolph's character the first time watching it in the theaters. If you haven't seen it, I made sure to leave out a few surprises for you.
I'm spinning.
So please give this movie a shot. In my opinion, it is the most criminally underrated movie of all time. In your opinion, what is your most underrated movie of all time? I'd like to hear it, and I'd like suggestions of other movies to watch. So please leave them below.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
fun in a awkward sort of way. Yeah! It sure was.